is Jesus and Gymshoes. Boy, this is Jesus and
So you said you had to take him
Gymshoes.
to the vet and all that stuff?
Yeah, so like having the dog really did help because he had everything happen. He got sick. We had to take him to the vet. We had to, take him to get his shots, figure out what their food choice is. So it's like naturally now with the child, it's like you have that, that whole responsibility under your belt. So you're used to looking after someone or looking after, the needs of someone else outside of your spouse who's an adult and they can look after themselves. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Jesus and Gymshoes, where we have unparalleled conversations about life skills and Jesus. I have a good friend of mine here, Mr. Shamari Brown. He is a philanthropist. He is a man of God, a man after God's own heart. You hear me? Because Jesus loves him. Jesus loves his wife. Jesus loves his dog. And Jesus loves their new baby.
No.
Shamari, starting off, what's your favorite pair of gym shoes?
Ooh, Kohans.
The
the gym shoes. They got gym shoes.
I know, but it is.
He put it
okay.
on. So look at my
Okay.
first pair though before Kohans were, of course, Air Force Ones. And then when you get older, and I don't know, and I started working in a professional field, I kind of left my super like sporty gym shoe out. Like I just transitioned, didn't even know. So I like the Kohan gym shoes. I like the Kohan dress shoes. I like the Kohan everything. I got all Kohan.
You were prepping to be a dad.
that was my aspiration. It was to be a dad. But yeah,
so yours weren't with New Balance. Yours was with Kohan. Okay, so you were a new age dad.
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, hey, that may say a whole lot about me, but that's what I mean. Other than that, I run in New Balances outside of those.
You run in New Balances. Okay.
Yep.
I'm here
so
for
I
that.
Yep. So all my running shoes are New Balances, and then I got another pair of running shoes that were by Kohan, which I saw, and so I got those, and then I kind of wear like this casual Kohan shoe that like it got a sole, like a rubber sole, but they like leather and suede leather, so they pretty dope, and I got those like in like 3 colors. But yeah, New Balance and Kohan.
That's what's up. So we were talking right before I pressed record. You're a new dad.
Yes, I am.
You are a new dad. 2 months and 2 days.
Yep.
Or she will be 2 months and 2 days.
Yep.
What is that like?
I've been telling everybody the same kind of narrative. Like there is something natural that kicks in. Like once she came out of my wife Imani's womb, and like I was in the back room and I saw her and she was crying and everything, it's like a light switch came on. Like automatically, I'm about to protect this young girl. Automatically, everything about her is important to me. And the good thing about our experience is I was able to be the one to do skin to skin because my wife had a C-section. So once she came out, I cut the umbilical cord and, told her, welcome to the world. I was able to, after they weighed her and stuff, and she had time with my wife, I was able to take her straight to the recovery room and put her on my chest. And to see my heart rate and me regulate her heartbeat, it was like, this is my responsibility. So I think something natural kicked in on that day. And then I feel like from that day forward, I have been in learning in school. So I feel like I'm in a kindergarten of being a parent.
Wow.
We're trying to make it to the first grade.
Exactly. What have you learned so far?
I've learned that, she is growing every day. I'm learning that my wife, who's nursing her, which is breastfeeding, I've learned that my wife produces every nutrient that she needs. And that has been just amazing to watch how God does that. And I've recognized that nothing is serious until it's serious. So us being new parents, once she was like, her breathing was a little bit weird, she would be making like different sounds. We were calling the 24-hour doctor. And, the doctor would be like, is she eating? Yes. Is she using the bathroom? Yes. Then she's fine. Like, oh, okay, great. So as long as she's doing those two things without a fever, she's great.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned so far. And that takes the edge off and the anxiety away.
Okay. So nothing is serious until it's serious. What about, what were your thoughts kind of prior to the first? No, I'm not going to ask that. What were your thoughts prior to her coming?
I was very anxious about, you create scenarios like, am I going to be able to hold her? What is it going to be like to change her? I was just nervous about things like that. And then also that there is this human being that I'm now responsible for. And when I've only been responsible for, of course, being a good husband, but like I said, my wife is an adult, and then being responsible for a dog, but that's a pet. So I kind of got nervous leading up to it, for sure.
Do they kind of line up with now? Are you able to hold her?
Oh yeah, I'm changing her. Okay. I'm holding her, flipping her,
changing diapers.
Yeah, changing diapers.
You doing all that?
Yeah, because I wanted to. I mean, I know some dads because they don't feel comfortable, changing their daughters. At least I've heard a couple of stories from dads like, I don't feel comfortable. I might do something wrong. But I told my wife, I was like, I want to learn. You watch me. Let me know that I'm doing this right, and I got it, and I got it. And it's like, again, like I said, that natural transition into fatherhood kicked in on me. I can't even really describe it. I mean, you pledged, right? So I ain't saying you
right behind me, dog.
I ain't saying you paper. I ain't saying that. No, but what I'm saying is when we pledge.
Okay. All right.
You know in your mind you want to be in your fraternity, right? Before you pledge. But it's like once you cross, you get this, hey, you start rocking Perry on top of Perry, you wear a hat, you got the necklace on, you got the bracelet on, you just straight up Neo. Like, and I feel like that's how I was. Like, I had this I'm an awesome dad shirt on. I was just like, I put the sticker on the back of the car. Like, that's kind of like how I could explain that transition. Like, once you pledge and you got it, you got your letters. Like, that's how it is becoming a parent.
This is a first. We equated new fatherhood to to being able to, oh man, to being a dad. That's crazy.
Yeah. And you online. You're online too for those first. I mean, some nights you still think you online. Like, she be up every 3 hours. Like, hey, where my milk at? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that same mindset of, when you're in that process, just working to your positive outcome.
The positive outcome, exactly. What have you learned about you while parenting thus far?
I learned that I don't have a model to look towards that's in my immediate family. Like, for example, my dad wasn't there to raise me. I wasn't like all my uncles and stuff. I didn't get to see what type of parents they were. So so what I find myself doing, because I don't have anybody to reference, I've learned that now I'm reaching for people who got kids now. So I feel like I'm constantly researching because I didn't know. Like, so I'm asking people questions. I learned that I'm hard on myself. especially when it comes to her. So like when something goes wrong, or I, dropped her pacifier like for the 10th time, because that's what my thing is. I learned that I just can't keep up with the pacifier. So I learned that for sure. And I dropped it, and at first it was like, dang man, can you just hold on to it? Do you need it to wrap it around your neck or something? Like, so I learned that I'm hard on myself, and I'm still I'm actively reaching out to people to help me how to do this.
What have you learned from her, your daughter?
Man, I have learned that she don't have no judgment. That her love is like at her purest essence. Her love is pure. Like she don't see my flaws yet, So I'm sucking this up that in this moment, dad could do no wrong. She don't have no type of opinion about who I am. And that it feels good to be around someone like that. I actually told my wife, I said, I want us to take our love back to a newborn place. Because like as adults, you got these expectations, you got these these things that you want the person that you're in a relationship with to live up to. And when they don't, you, whether you are conscious about it or not, retract some of your love. You like, I don't love you that much right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't like you, but I still love you. But I feel like, you can interchange those love and like when it comes to like, your behavior, because, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind. Like, so if you keep no record. Now, if you did those two, then what you doing? You ain't loving. So saying that to say, she just has shown me a pure love, and she has shown me that I'm not that flawed because she can depend on me. Like her livelihood in this, but everything concerning her life, her safety, her food, her well-being is in my hands. And so that I'm trustworthy to an extent. And she's showing that to me about myself.
You made a really good point about wanting to go back to the place of being childlike and in love. I was praying earlier when I was at church, and Pastor Hannah had Pastor Jamon's son sing today, and I was like, God, I want childlike faith again, where you can go and you don't have any of the reservations, you don't have any of the disappointments or anything like that that's happened before. Because I think that, like you said, you can become that same way with God after you've had disappointments. And I mean, of course, we know all things work together for the good of those, right? But sometimes those all things that are working together, sometimes that working together can kind of work on us, work on our faith, and work on and make us kind of hesitant and kind of make us faithless. So we can kind of be like Jarius a little bit and be like, yo, I need you to help my unbelief. But sometimes that unbelief is, whew,
I feel you.
It's a crazy place to be in that unbelief. What if you, and I know that you guys were in a place of like, yo, I know all things work together, but what's up? So what have you learned from being a co-parent, or what have you learned from your co-parent? Like, I know she's your wife, but she's also like parenting this child with you.
I've learned that my wife is very detail oriented. So she's seeing stuff that I don't see. Like she sees if Olivia's less whiny when her diaper needs to be changed, or the pitch of her cry is connected to food or connected to discomfort in her stomach. And not only that, my wife is tenacious. Like, she is the type of person that if she can't figure it out, she gonna do whatever necessary to figure it out, to get a solution. And she's gonna try things. She's going to uh research what's best practices and see if they work until she get it. And then once she gets it, then she implements it. And then when she implements it, she teaches it. So like, I'm a student of Imani. You know, I always say I'm the director type. Imani's the manager type. Imani can create an operation for our house, for anything. And for example, like just the bottles, like Imani says, okay, we have to wash the bottles, then we have to sanitize them. Then after we sanitize them, we dry them. Then after we dry them again. Then they're ready. You know, like I'm like, oh, I got to do that. So I learned processes and procedures from her, and I hop right in and do it. I am not that when it comes to day to day life. I I'm myself a director. I can give direction. In order to get that done, you know, I see us going this route, or I see us using that procedure that somebody already created to make that happen. But I'm not the one that created that. I just looked and say, okay, that one works, so let's use that. You know, or like for example, I'm the one to take all the pictures and stuff like that. So I'm like, because I mean, I got a creative eye. I'm like, this is how we need to set her up. This is how we're going to set it up. Or, you know, if I see that she does better, you know, laying on her back or laying propped up, I'm saying, let's do this. You know, I'm providing the direction for what we should do. We tried it this way. Let's do this. But Imani is saying, in order to achieve that, you gotta roll this blanket up and put it under her, you know, her bed so that she can be propped up, you know. So it's like, me being able to give that direction and then her being able to put legs on it, or her creating a process and saying what you think about it. Then I'm able to say, yeah, I think that's great. And I learn, you know. So I learned, if there's anything I learned how to do my research, and I learned how to create a process that gets stuff done.
Okay. What is a scripture that holds you during this time of being a dad?
What do I say a lot? The righteous shall live by faith. And I could do all things through. Well, the righteous shall live by faith is, I say, no matter how much research you do, this is my opinion, or no matter how many opinions you take in, there's an element of faith that you need. Like you said, that childlike faith, that faith that says, God, I know you're going to do this for me. Or that faith is that faith of that it's the faith of the assurance that the sun, like, you know how we know the sun is going to rise tomorrow. Like, we got a childlike faith about that because it's been tested and tried, and it's this assurance. And I say, I can't get caught up in all these different opinions. I can get caught up in what people think manhood is and all these different things. I gotta have faith in God and faith in what God sends me. So I always tell myself, you know, Shamar, you gotta live by faith. You can't live by research or science all by itself, because it will eventually fail you. So you need some faith in God, and you need some faith in His Word to get you through. And then I always recite to myself, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, because life is hard, man. Like, you know, trying to take care of a baby throughout a pandemic, wearing a mask, hearing about people passing away, all these different things, and it's like, wow. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Saying to myself, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That has been what helps me face the decisions that we have to make. Like I said, having a child during the pandemic, having to wear masks, having to tell family members they can't be up close to your baby, um, making hard decisions that people didn't have to think about that we have to think about today. And then furthermore, how are we going to raise our daughter in this age, which is different than ours, So I just feel like, man, I need God to help me navigate this and get it done. So I could do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And then the righteous shall live by faith.
So what are you doing to stay in shape what are you doing to stay in shape so that way you can be the best dad?
Physical shape. Like
any
working
shape you're
out.
thinking about. Mental, it could be.
So I would say I've always been spiritually fit. That is a pillar in my life, my faith. I am, a seminary graduate in graduate school. I'm a Bible reader. I've read over 300 Bible plans on the Bible app. I write devotions.
We're going to get into that.
And stuff like that. So my spiritual piece is strong. Now, from a mental health piece, what I've learned from the pandemic is that not only do you need your faith and spirituality, but you need some mental health in place, some mental health, things in place. And so I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for almost a year and a half. So it's going on 2 years. And I have gotten to the root some root causes of a lot of my behavior. I had no idea, I had no idea how much stuff I needed to process. In order for the word, the Bible, my faith, to actually be operable in my day-to-day activities, because if your mental health isn't right, sometimes what you read don't even make sense because it's not even penetrating, your psychology. So I'm in therapy. I, have a spiritual discipline. The two areas that I feel like are got the light on that I need to work on is I need to have more fun. So
okay.
I definitely need to have some more fun, and I need to work out. Those are my two 2022 goals. Them are my two main goals. I need to have a lot of more fun, and I need to exercise.
Okay. What does fun look like for you?
I mean, I want to dance. I want to laugh until my stomach hurt. I want to crack jokes. I want to play games. Like, one of the good steps in that direction is yesterday we went to a friend's house and we just played these games. And so there's these new games out, and I'm like, I had no idea about this because I haven't played games in a long time, because everything is online. But we went to a friend's house and they had a game called Name That Meme, me, and that was hilarious, so I was laughing so hard my head hurt, just about how you could choose which meme would go to the picture, and then the person who pulls the card gets to choose who got the best description. And so I love that. And then we did another game called the Revoking Your Black Card.
Black Card Revoked.
Yeah. Black Card Revoked. So I played that. We played that, and that was kind of funny because I'm like, man, I was like 3 points from. I was sticking in there, but the part I don't like about the game is the majority rules part, because it's like everybody, when it says, okay, how many people think that this, and this, and if you feel different, but everybody else feel the same, then your black card get revoked. And I mean, I don't know if majority rules work.
Yeah, I forgot how to play the game.
Yeah, but basically what happens is they got factual questions like in Friday, who was the guy that got punched by Debo? And you got a name A, B, or C. That's a factual question.
You know who it was?
Yeah, it was Red.
No,
The
it was Craig. Oh, Craig.
no,
Red did get punched by Debo,
yes,
but Craig beat
Craig,
up Debo. Okay.
yes, Craig was there, and that was one of the answers. Craig, Smokey, Red, or Stanley. That was the question. And I remembered it clearly, like, because he had that UPS outfit on and he was sitting on the porch. But so yeah, so that was like a factual question. Then they have a majority rules, like who do you think is X? How many people do you think who is the best rapper or whatever of the 90s? Actually, no, they said who is the most popular woman of the 90s. This was a majority rules. And they were like Stacey Dash, Lauryn Hill, Halle Berry, and then somebody else. And then everybody was like Halle Berry. And I'm like, I thought it was Stacey Dash, but they were like, you know, whatever. You know, I'm like, so you can weigh it. You know what I mean? Like people really were like in a Stacey Dash at that time. And so, but I got my car revoked for that one because my decision. But saying that to say that was fun. I want more of that. Like, I feel like the pandemic has made things so much more morbid and so much more negative. Like everything is about who died and when, and who said that Black Lives Matter and who didn't say it. And am I Christian as I am because of my political beliefs? Like it's just so much serious stuff around us. You know, so
Yeah,
I definitely want to have more fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I think wow. I think more than anything, I think the first step is identifying what it is that we have to do
Yeah.
to make those right steps. And with making those, what is it that you want your daughter to remember about you?
That I was always present in her life and loved her, and that I love the Lord. Like my dad loved the Lord. He served him. He wrote books. He helped people. He preached. You know, I wanted those two things, that I was always present and available for her, and that I loved the Lord.
That's beautiful. We're gonna switch it up real quick.
Okay.
It ain't gonna be that.
Okay, cool.
So we're gonna do this rapid fire round real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna say something, and as soon as I say it, I want the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay. All right.
Life and community.
Podcasts.
Okay.
That I have.
Okay. All right. What else about that?
I cannot be who I am without a community. I need people. I don't know about these people saying they don't need nobody. They either lying or I'm nothing like them. I gotta have friends. I gotta be able to text somebody. I gotta be able to cry to somebody. I gotta be able to laugh. I gotta have somebody around me. So I cannot thrive without a good community of people around me. Period.
Better together.
I think that for my marriage, me and Imani do good when we partner together. And when we have arguments, we do bad. We do bad. But when we on point, man, we are like a force. But man, when we argue, it's been like that since college. It's like when we argue, all our friends would be like, man, would y'all make up so that we all can hang together? Because what would happen is they would have to choose. So they would be at my dorm room like, man, just apologize to her. And they were like, because when y'all mad at each other, the whole crew ain't on point, you know? So we should have known we were going to get married at that point. But so that's another story. But yeah, we better together.
What about Amani? The first thing.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
She is a I call her, she a gallon lover. She like a gallon size lover. You know, she ain't a no 1 liter or nothing like that. Like when she comes,
Gallon size lover.
she poured on you. Like, I love you. I'm here. Like I was talking about it the other day. I was like, when we was in college, again, I wasn't used to the type of love that she had, or even like community. Like my community mentality thrived in college, came about in college. But she had this thing, you know, text when you make it to your dorm room, and you know, we want to make sure everybody's safe. And I'm like, I don't want nobody to know where I'm at, like, because I might not even go back to my room, like, you know. So it was like that accountability, and that you know, you don't got no gas. All right, y'all, let's put a couple of dollars together to make sure Shamari got some gas. Like, wow, like that was the type of love that I was getting back then. And so, like, with right now, it's like, Shamari, whatever you do, I got you and I love you. And I'm going to see you through darkness, and I'm going to see you through, you know, your good times too.
Pops. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, funny. Funny. Pops is, and he raw and real. Yes, Pops gonna keep it real, man. We sit and have conversations, and Pops, he always say, I'll take the sheets off of it. And he just, because of that, he funny.
I literally had to ask one time. I was like, yo, whose dad is this? Like, which one of you guys' dad is this? Like, because the way that he loves both of you guys, I really had to like ask and see.
Yeah, man. I'm grateful. Like, I feel like her parents, like, they took the in-law thing to a whole nother level. Like, I literally say our parents. And I think that does confuse people, because they like really engrafted me in. Like, sometimes I could win them over more than Imani. Like, so sometimes they would take my side, you know. But that's how much they brought me in. When they brought me in, they did not cut anything off.
It's he the coolest man in the world.
Man, could talk about anything. And this man, they came and stayed with us the first week when the baby came. You know, we just recently moved to a different neighborhood. And they came within a week. They stayed for 1 week. This man knew everyone that lives right by us. And everybody who I walked the dog to talk about, they would be like, yeah, I met your pops the other day. I'm like, how did you meet everybody in the community in 1 week? So like they now be asking me, where is he at? I'm like, he's at home. But the guy, he can talk about everybody. And I think it's because he was born in 1945. So he done came up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So I think he just got so much to relate with people on. And he be just cutting in on them and talking.
That's wild. Outreach.
It's what taught me who God is. I didn't know God until I started doing outreach. Outreach made the Bible alive to me. When I got outside of myself and started helping homeless people, when I started helping people who are on drugs, when I started serving and cleaning up a dirty community, when I started going to soup kitchens and making friends with the people who ask for money on the corners. And then I read in the Bible where Jesus said, where I was hungry, you fed me. And when I went into prisons and preached, that is what made me, that was what made my belief lock in. Is doing outreach.
That's how we met.
Yeah. And you see what it does? It make you feel like family. Like, you're like my family.
Yeah.
We're like family. We never going to be disconnected. That's how deep it is.
Yeah, it's and I rock with genuine people.
Yeah.
So it's seeing like the way that you actually loved on the people.
Yeah.
It was that was the sight to see because I don't really rock with. I don't really rock if you not out here doing right by the people.
Yeah.
I don't really rock with that.
Yeah. I was genuine, man, and that's what made me so tired after 7 years of doing it, like as a job, as a career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
As a career, yeah.
I'm still helping people. Still, like I never can get away from it. Excuse me. I never can get away from it. But I gave everything I could to it. Mainly because when I started helping people, I recognized that people are not really what they go through.
Yeah.
Like I met some intellectual homeless people that are probably as smart as someone who works for the government.
Mm-hmm.
I've met I've met people who, who are on drugs more loving than a pastor. And so what I recognize is that people are not what they do or what they're going through. People are not what they're going through. That's the main thing. People are not what they're going through. They could be something totally different. And then that's what opened my mind.
It's like that split decision that like some people have from that can turn them any type of way.
Right.
But at their core, they are who they are, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like what you're saying. I mean, as some people I've learned find comfort in obscurity, because it releases them from the pressures of dealing with certainty.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot to remain certain and to remain sure. It's a lot to remain secure, right? So I've learned that it's really a decision. Like some people will never leave homelessness because there is actually safety for them in the homelessness.
Yeah, because it's a lot of stuff that you gotta like maintain in my house or maintain in my building or maintain in a car.
Yep.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. They don't want that pressure. They don't want people in their business. They don't want to interact into, I mean, and of course, from a diagnostic statistical manual standpoint, there is some quote unquote psychiatric issues with that. There's some psychosis, there's some detachment from reality because of those decisions. But also I feel like at the same time, is it really? And so it's a that's how I had to learn. Treat people right, treat people right no matter what, and so I learned, man, that people are more than what they seem. You can never take a human being and say, oh man, that's just so and so and they ain't got nothing going on. Like don't do that to people.
Black man theology.
That's getting to know God from a black man's perspective. That's I gotta work through a lot of whitewashing. I gotta work through America's dynamics over black men to get to who God really is and how he feels about me as a black man that's made in his image. Because everything that I've seen growing up, white was right and black was wrong. So how do I believe in this God that my white brothers and sisters believe in when they treat me differently than what the Bible says? And is he their God? Is that the God? Is he like them? So black man theology is a quest to see if God is who he is in the Bible to me, a black man. And then it's me as a black man working through all of the trauma and all of the day-to-day discrimination and pressure that I have to deal with to get to a genuine faith.
Mm.
And it's hard. And everybody think it's like just some kind of, it's hard. It's
Yeah,
not,
absolutely.
it ain't easy.
It ain't. And then having to deal with the people who kind of throw things together before that saying, they kind of like throw these, I don't know how to put it, but they throw like different things together to make up a religion or make up a way for them to feel about God, right? And it doesn't necessarily follow a logical standpoint, or like it doesn't have like a logical flow to it in the sense that in the sense that you would do anything else logically, right?
Right.
If you set up like, hey, if I save money, if I put X, Y, and Z money up and into an account and it makes 1% interest, I know that over time this thing will happen, right?
Yeah.
They don't take that same type of logic doesn't get put in towards the Bible, towards Christianity, towards the God of our faith. Right. And so it's hard because you got a lot of people that are most definitely they're most definitely they're most definitely like not giving it a chance because of the fact that they have to do the work of overcoming the whitewashing.
Yeah, they said forget it. A lot of black scholars are atheists. A lot of black scholars have become atheists because they said, I just can't wrap my mind around a God letting that happen to me. If that's the God, I don't want nothing to do with him. And black man theology for me is to say, well, let me dig, right? Because one thing that pain doesn't have is a color. Pain is pain. Suffering is suffering. Now, a person who grew up in privilege because their debit card got shut off for a punishment that's unlimited, they suffering. Like a black person who got an EBT card, which is a food stamp card, because they don't make enough income.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, man, no, it's worse because see, they got the money in that. But in essence, what I'm saying is that person's pain, that person's suffering is a suffering, to them, and so I'm not justifying racism at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about just these words and these that are by definition don't include color. Death does not include color. A pandemic will kill you if you're white or black or Hispanic or Asian. Some will die more frequently than others, and that is where the racism come in, right? But at the same time, everybody has a death notice.
Yeah, I was reading this article by Miranda Lovett, and I'll send it to you. It's called "Reflecting on the Rise of the Hotep," and and it was like gave an anthropological view of how black folks became hoteps.
What is a hotep?
So a hotep are the cats that are like how can I explain it? They're the cats that don't necessarily will subscribe to anything Western. Like everything is the black man is God, or the black man is God. They subscribe to all of these like not West African, but like they ascribe to like Egyptology, and they all of
crystals and sage. And
no. Not, I mean, that is like one portion, but they like have this view of ancient Egypt or Africa as being like this monolith of everything was all good. We were all kings, we were all queens, and they that's what they like feel. And so everything is looked at, everything in Western civilization isn't right because they have this they infantilize or romanticize this made up view of what was happening in Africa prior to us being here.
Got it.
And so a lot of it is made up because it's kind of like when you rock with if you've ever like listened to if you've ever listened to people who subscribe to what is it called, Hebrew Israelism.
Yeah.
Right. And you know how they say, yeah, we're all, Hebrews, we're all from the tribe of Israel.
We
And
the
it's
chosen
like,
people.
yeah, we the chosen people. It's kind of like that. But it's like taking it to a whole new level where everything is like from Kemet, and then they don't necessarily, I mean, they kind of like fall in line together because they're like, yo, we're all children. We are the chosen ones. Egypt was home, and it's like, bro, like you can't necessarily trace your lineage back to Egypt. Like you can't, like there's no way for you to actually do that. And just like with the Hebrew Israelites, like there's no way that you know that like these children of Israel, like you're related to them in any way.
Right.
Like there's no way to like factually prove that like these people of the Bible are your people.
Right.
Like we're all Jesus's people because of the fact that like he died for us. I'm gonna get in my Baptist bag real quick, because he went to the cross.
Right. Now we all a part of the family.
Now we all a part of the family.
Right.
But Hoteps, she said in this article, she said the image falls neatly into the category of Hotep subculture, a relatively new movement in the U.S. that uses Egyptian history as a parcel to wrap up messages of Black pride. People characterized as Hoteps tend to wear traditional African styles, create content about the history of Black people from before the transatlantic slave trade, and spread ideology about the place of Black men and women within Black communities. She goes on to say in this article that a lot of time the Hotep movement, however, are celebratory of progress. Hotep memes often denounce homosexuality and interracial marriage and spread conspiracy theories or inaccurate ideas about history. They also place women as secondary to men. Hotep memes often preach that Black men should strive to fight oppression that has disenfranchised them, but they tend to be silent about the oppression of Black women.
I can see that. I can see a lot of that ideology creeping into a couple of people that I know.
Me too.
I can see. I feel like the pandemic has pushed. I feel like there's a shift in our millennials. There's a shift in our belief system that we're going to see probably the manifestation of it in the next probably 5 to 10 years. But this past 2 years sort of served as a breaking away. Like, so for example, a trust was broken, or you know how like how could you explain it? How can I explain it? All right, so if you exercise, right, and you are, your body is used to the exercise and stuff because you are very fit, you are very, you're in it, and when you get up, you're inspired to go exercise because you're in it, you're fit, you're a fit person, you're a healthy person. But if you take a vacation, right, and you eat your favorite kind of foods and stuff like that, when you come back, it is very hard to get that motivation back. And then chances are you never go back to the way you were. I believe that the pandemic shutting the world down and the churches being virtual for over a year, and the lack of in-person fellowship and in-person connection caused people to question the theology of what was being preached to them. And now they come back and they are at war with what they're hearing because honestly, when it was virtual, they weren't listening like we used to listen. As intently as it was in person. And if we're honest, also our attention span. Well, I'm just talk about me. Maybe I'm just the case study.
Yeah, I was on my phone.
Okay, my attention span is like, if it ain't like hot, like even with a show, like if the show ain't like boom, 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 you know, like giving them blows, you know, I'm done. I'm done. I can't even, and I think that it has to do with social media. It has to do with TikTok. It has to do with Instagram. It has to do with Reels. And if we got to be honest with how that has changed us, because I do not read my physical Bible as much as I did prior to the pandemic or prior, you know, like I would say like 3 years ago, because now I'm on my phone and I use the Bible app.
Yeah.
And with that, there's a difference, you know, and I am working through what has changed in me. But if I can take my perspective on looking at it, I feel like people are ascribing to pieces of things to give them freedom and quote unquote liberation, you know, liberation hidden in this idea that I want to be exactly how I am. I want to break away. I want to rebel against what this really was, and I want to hear things that justifies what I do, even if it goes against what the Lord is saying.
So Dr. Eric Mason, who wrote the book Urban Apologetics, he actually did a sermon series recently, Deconstructing Your Faith. And I think that he did a really, really good job of showing people how to actually do it, to go through it. Yes, it's okay to question. And with it being okay to question, this is how you break it down. And then this is how you come back from what it is that you discovered.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are not allowing the text to actually talk. They'll see it, but then they don't necessarily like let God breathe on it. It's like, see, I knew this particular thing was happening, and I knew that this is what it was going to show, but it don't allow grace. They don't allow grace for the text.
No. And a lot of it is because Dr. Eric Mason, what is sad about the Dr. Eric Mason thing is that he's the only one talking about deconstruction. Like, that is definitely should have been on every pastor's agenda. But what certain pastors have done is they're continuing on with the show as possible. And what is happening is that people have deconstructed subconsciously and didn't even know. And they are striving to try to hold on to what the pastors are saying. They're like, they're uncomfortable. They're like, they're finding the flaws in the rhetoric. They're finding the flaws in the continual repetitive statements.
I'm in that place. Like, luckily, I'm also giving grace to people or to, you know, sermons or to the space that I'm in. But for somebody who like doesn't actually want there to be good news at the end, they like, see. That's it. They just like, see, I told you.
Yeah, they are. And then that's how you say, oh man, well, let me go over here and just say all this is jacked up in the Western hemisphere. Let me go back to see what they did in Egypt and what they took from us and what they withheld from us. And what I believe about that is that, yes, colonialization is real. Yes, um, whiteness and racism and what is it? Conquest to destroy indigenous people is real. But at the same time, none of it is of greater than God, and God can reach within that dynamic and still give anyone who wants him, and that
Mm-hmm.
person could get access into him in a way that would change their lives for the better.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, I think one of the misnomers that people have is that like the goodness of God looks like having a lot,
Yep.
or the goodness of God looks like full health.
Yep.
The goodness of God looks like getting that new job, or the goodness of God looks like um him coming to what you think is your rescue.
Yeah. I agree. I told this, this one thing I was dealing with in therapy. I mean, this is me. This is just me, myself, and I. I feel like I had to detox from prosperity teaching, because the reason why was because it began to create a depression when reality kicked in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and it also colludes my judgment of what I'm really capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is not going to be great.
It's kind of like the participation trophy.
Yeah,
Everybody want the great. They this is what they like. You gonna get a participation trophy, but you're not gonna get first place.
right. Everybody is not at the top. Everyone is not going to travel the world and do miraculous and amazing things. Everyone is not going to have multiple streams of income because they don't even know how to fold their clothes and talk on the phone at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is not going to have these different things, and not only that, not everyone can be taught that. And not only that, that is not necessary. That is not what Jesus was. This is Jesus in gym shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to talk about, and so I had to deconstruct my prosperity um, mentality, and I had to reconstruct a Christ-centered theology.
Mm.
And the way that I did that was that I had to go to the teachings in the red. If you have the King James Version Bible, and they even do it on the Bible app, where when
Mm-hmm.
Jesus talks, it's red. And I had to really take a look at Jesus's life, like in his mentality, like and what he chose to do when it comes to this idea of prosperity and stuff like that. And what I realized is he was really sending a different message. And his message was not taking an oath of poverty, like to say, okay, I'm going to just be, I don't want to, I'm going to stay in poverty and slavery or whatever type of
Mm-hmm.
oppression. His idea was, don't take the privileges that you have to exalt yourself more than what you ought to.
Mm.
So he was a king who could have had a chariot, a castle, who he could have been a monarch, right? He was the king that came, that God promised Israel. He could have had a chariot. He could have did it just like King David had a mansion, all these different things. But instead, he chose to uh, live with other people, be on the move because he was on an assignment. And then I'll never forget, like the Palm Sunday when he came in on a donkey, and he said, "Go get me a donkey so that I can ride in, because I don't want to bring attention to myself that I could." And I think that it's this idea of, I got just me and my significant other, and I'm a millionaire. Do I need a 10-bedroom mansion? Like, do I really need that? or no. Like I think that there could be. I think that there were millionaires according to the price ranges in that time who were actually a part of Jesus's ministry. And I feel like they submitted to his leadership and they decided to use the privileges that they have for a good greater than themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that we're not being taught that anymore. We're not being taught, godliness with contentment is great gain. That just because you can don't mean that you have to. And I think that I had to detox from that. And I had to tell myself every day is a good day, even if extraordinary things don't happen.
That's the life skill, right? Because we talk about life skills in Jesus, right? I think that's the life skill. A lot of people are not satisfied with every day being a good day.
Just just not day to day. I go work out. I come home. I eat. I talk to some friends, people I love on the phone. By the end of the night, I'm watching a good movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I just think that again, unmet expectations to God about God affects people's faith tremendously. When he is not the God that they have been told that they should believe in, then why should they believe at all?
Yeah. And it's a struggle because I know like I know that, at some point, like I've had a lot, I've had a little.
Yep.
And I've had to trust God in both of those scenarios.
Yep.
And in both of those scenarios, things could have went kaput at any moment. And sometimes when you have a little, you like, whoo, I'm glad I ain't got no whole bunch because, man, I would have had to lose a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I was it's funny that yesterday I was with my nephew. I was with my nephew all day, we kicked it or whatever. And so I was driving. We went and picked up his dad from the salon. And and I was like, I want to show you something, Amir. And so back in 2015, on his birthday was the day I was supposed to close on another building. And I showed him, I was like, hey, on your birthday in 2015, I had got fired from my job. And they called me while I was in the cab. Like, hey, we just called your office. They said you no longer work there. Like, what's going on? We wanted to call you in so you could close. And I was like, dang. So I showed him the building, but I'm grateful because I didn't realize that like from 2016 to 2018, I would be without a job. Like I would be underemployed. And if I had had that building, I would not have been able to do right by it. Yeah. And I would have lost it.
Yep.
So God was still God, even though I had to personally learn a lesson.
Yeah.
And I think that like a lot of times, and I was talking to my dad about this, he was doing a sermon today. We were at dinner last night talking about 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. And he was like, these temptations are like common to man and that type of thing. And I'm like, Dad, what's the application? What's the application? And so I'm reading this book called Safe People. So I was out walking Harlem this morning and I was like, Daddy, and I called him before he was still shaving, before he went to go preach. And so I was like, Daddy, I don't think that it's our temptations a lot of times. I think a lot of people blame our temptations, but it's our triggers.
Ooh.
It's not our temptations.
Yeah.
We tempted, but it's our triggers. Like it's really, really our triggers. Like those are the internal things. Our temptations are the spiritual things.
Right.
Our triggers that make us go do foolish stuff are the unhealed things that we have to deal with. Those are the things that can separate us from God for the most part.
That's fire. You should have preached.
he ain't ready,
They weren't ready for that. That is so fire because you not lying. Let me tell you, because when I am triggered, that is when sin is ever present.
Ever.
Let me tell you, once I am triggered, I begin to turn crazy. Like if something, it depends on the size. If it's a small trigger, sometimes I can roll with it. But triggers are the gateway to the vulnerability, and then to the knee jerk reaction.
Yep.
To what?
Yep.
To the temptation that's already there. Like, okay, I'm going to yell. I'm going to be mean. I'm going to talk bad about this person because they just triggered me. You know, that to me is where I feel like good pastoral care, I feel like at some point in history addressed those things. And that's what we're missing now. We don't, I mean, the pastor sermon was a little part of what he did. Monday through Friday, he was counseling people, talking to them about what is they're dealing with. And then he preached, you know, that's why he could do it, you know, full time. And I think that when you don't have access to that, your pastor or your leader or someone to process, or even now, of course, it's therapy, of course, then you don't know what your triggers are. And then now those triggers are ever present. And now you find yourself in a sin cycle because certain things are triggering you. And that's why I took a 7-day hiatus off of social media, because I got to do that every now and again. You know, Harlem, like, come.
He yawning. He was asleep.
Yeah. No, but saying that to say is that you're right, man, about our triggers. I never thought of it like that, but I'm taking that. I'll quote you, Reverend.
I appreciate it, Pastor.
Man, you just, that's the truth. Like, that would have took the sermon to a whole nother level. But also, that would have let a lot more people know that they need way more help than a wishing and a hoping.
Yeah. Because I think that, like, people really think that Jesus is a genie.
Yeah.
Like Jesus let a lot of stuff be in our hands.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot of stuff that's in our hands. And I also think that, like, a lot of stuff that people, like, are hoping and praying for, like, you can fix it. Like, there is an expected end. Like, he has an expected end for you. He does want to be in right fellowship with you, but there are literally things that you do that disconnect you from being in right fellowship. Oh my God, you can see him just yawning. He's like just laying there, just yawning. But yeah, it's us. Like, I can't blame God that, like, I got into a bad contract, or I can't blame God that, like, I didn't listen to him about a relationship. I can't, like, blame God, like, that I didn't take the red flags that were there about a situation I shouldn't have put myself in, or, like, I can't blame God that, like, my parents were who they were. Right? Like, they are also people.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody also, I didn't learn to look at my parents as actual humans until I was older.
Yeah, me neither. It wasn't until I became an adult that I respected them as adults. And that's a whole nother thing, a whole nother thing that should be addressed as well. But I think overall, though, when you are connected to Christ, and the scripture says that nothing can separate you from him, and you are connected to him for real, he's always presenting an opportunity for us to get a hold of him, reset, and reboot.
Absolutely. And we'll end it there. So thank you to my good brother Shamari for being on Jesus and Gymshoes, where we have unparalleled conversations about life skills and Jesus. Where can they find you?
All right, you guys can look me up on Instagram at Servant Brown, or if you want to check out my website to look at my services and all the things that I do, it's www.shamaribrown.com, just like it's written, SHAMMRIE Brown.com. And you can also find my devotions on YouVersion Bible app. And if you just press in the search Good Servants Enterprises, all of the Bible apps that my wife and I, all of the Bible plans that me and my wife has written are on there.
That's what's up. I can't wait to get your wife on here, man.
Yeah, y'all gonna have fun. It's interesting. How you gonna hear her perspective, but I'm gonna.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be fun. She's fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah, y'all gonna laugh a lot.
Yeah, that's my homie. But thank you so much again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Jesus and Gymshoes. Also, you can find us on Instagram at @this_is_Jesus and Gymshoes, YouTube at this Jesus and Gymshoes, Facebook at Jesus and Gymshoes.
Nice. And for those of you who are watching and see this background, this is my daughter's nursery. So that's why these flowers are around me. God bless you.
I love it. I love it. All right, man. I love you. Thank you.
All right, love you too. Take care.